Welcome to the Accounting Technology Lab, brought to you by CPA Practice Advisor, with your hosts, Randy Johnston and Brian Tankersley.
Welcome to the Accounting Technology Lab. I'm Randy Johnston with co-host Brian Tankersley. We've both reviewed a product called Keyveve, which is a new generation portal product, but it's got more than just portal in it. And the workflows and the document management and other features in there are actually quite interesting. Now, Keyveve says that they're a secure engagement core for modern accounting firms, and they're bringing all of the elements together: staff workflow, document management, the communications, and AI agents all inside a platform. So, Brian, I know that you've had demonstrations of the systems. I've had demonstrations of the system with the founders there. Nick Hellman is one of the founders, and the other founder, Udemy Ekamnim. I may not have his last name right. Sorry, Udemy. But in any case, he's been behind the coding. And, many of these platforms that we've looked at, there's been a visionary founder and a visionary coder. And we saw that with three or four different of these portal products. They see the problem, they know they can solve it, they take a different approach. So, what would you want our listeners to know about Keyveve?
Well, it's really a tool that will store your data and it will let you do word searches off of it. They've actually got some libraries that let you do heavy duty search off of here. They also have some AI tools that will recognize information off of here. You've got client portal, you've got staff workflows. And again, there's just a lot in here. You can do threaded email. You have, again, this document studio, and the version I saw actually had a cloud-based tool that would let you edit this again. And I think this tool could easily be paired with again, it was using a tool that was based on Open Office, looked like, to edit it, but I believe they've said that they're working on a Microsoft 365 integration, so you can just edit it with your 365 tools within here. You also have, again, the standalone AI in here. The idea is to have this be kind of the center of your document flows that used to be paper flows back in the good old days when everything was on paper. You've also got AI engines that layer on top of it, and again, many other things.
Yeah, so this combination of, I used to talk about it as a multi-threaded communication approach. We've talked about a few products that have built this because many of your clients are sending you documents via, a text message, which is, really awful because it's a JPEG and you have to convert it to PDF, and it's a separate communication channel. And some are coming in through email. And so the real problem is, how do we consolidate all of these phone conversations and different sources of documents? This week alone, Brian, I've been in both a CPA firm consulting and presenting for a managing partner group, and I heard this, both places. The documents are coming from us every which way. How do we control them all? And I thought one of the suggestions from a managing partner about, having a single email address and just forwarding it, and the admin team all looks at it, or a single person responsible, and so forth. Well, this automation really helps with all of this. The client portal is really good at uploads and messaging, and you can actually work from both the staff and the client side in this. To me, it looks like the potential for a light duty document management system. And with the discontinuance of products like File Cabinet CS over the next year and a half, the December 31st of 27, this might be a landing zone if you're a File Cabinet CS shop, because it's a central place to store and organize and work and collaborate on internal and external client files. And that collaboration, by the way, is a pretty big deal, because we've talked about that with Microsoft 365 co-editing before. And there's only a few document management systems that really have co-editing as part of their document management. Net Documents, I might call out as an example there, and it's a much more expensive product. So the workflow in here is also good at tracking tasks and deadlines and who's responsible, ownership, if you will. And a lot of times the workflows get disconnected from the files and the client messages and the AI analysis that goes on. But I think this team has a lot of the workflow analysis done correctly. And then they're leveraging AI for chat and summaries and analysis of documents, and it's permission aware. So, in effect, the platform is one of the ones that I see that can handle tax and client accounting services and audit and advisory work in a single platform. And I was asked that question just yesterday, and I answered it with Keyveve as one of the options for that group because they were just looking for something to be an all-in-one portal. And you and I have been on the same piece of sheet music on that for some time.
And the problem with so many solutions is that there are a lot of good document management solutions, and there are a lot of good portals, and there are a lot of good workflow tools. Okay, but the problem is that I don't need those three engines all working in separate silos. I need them to work together. Okay. And the so this really is a tool that provides that work together in here. There are tools like, the open source paperless plus tool is great if you have the technical knowledge of how to set it up and you don't need to share things outside with clients. It would be great for somebody running, an auto repair shop or something like that. But the challenge here is that there are a lot of great solutions, but finding something again that brings all these things together. Again, when you go from client upload to staff review, the work moves back and forth. We have AI classification, and that's something we're seeing in more and more products through this, where you basically can specify, just like you do in your tax software, you specify the file name that you want the PDF to be exported as. You have a standard format that it's going to be in, maybe it's last name, first name, year of tax form. So, it's Tankersley, Brian, 2025 1040, and then it can, but the AI can also classify those things and put those things in there, so
So
we can actually.
Brian's point is very important here. Notice, to a degree, this product can do auto naming and auto classification. And we think that's a feature of new generation document management that is occurring. So this classification thing, it saves you a bunch of time. Now, we saw it in the manual old days with products like Docket. And when Docket was first doing that in the early 2000s, it's like, wow, that is a big time saver. And this new
Yeah.
generation of AI naming and classification by looking at the content for you is far better than all the manual rules that had to be encoded in the past. Because so much in the past, so many of the document management systems of the past, we had to apply metadata and there was all sorts of manual coding and it was easy to type names wrong. And sorry to step in on you, Brian, there, but
Well,
it's
but
such a
but
big point that you made.
if you think about it here, I mean, you know, let me give you a couple of use cases here. Okay. So again, if you think about the way that things used to work back when dinosaurs roamed the earth and we got paper from clients, you would get a big envelope full of stuff, and then you go to a conference table and you'd sort, or in Dr. Bob's case, a pool table, and you'd sort it all out, and you would then figure out, you get it in your order, and you'd have to spend human time doing this. What if you defined what the structure needed to be, how they needed to be laid out in your working papers, and then the AI just put it in that format for you, and bookmarked it, similar to what we've seen with the scan and organize tools that came in, 15, 20 years ago. What if the AI just did that in the background? Also, if you're thinking about this, the auto nag is a very important part here, where you can automatically send these friendly reminders to people, again, to solve things in here.
Yeah.
But
Now
again,
you might, and you're right on that. And you might be thinking to yourself, how's it doing all this stuff? And I've never heard of them. Are they brand new? And the short answer on that is no, they're not. This company's been around since March of 2021. They've been kind of flying under the radar, developing. So you think about it, kind of a 5-year cycle, and they were building, I'll say, traditional And then all of the AI broke loose, and it was like, oh, wait a minute. Let's rethink our strategy here before we go to market with that.
And again, if you think about this now, the AI is valuable because if I have my email flows and my work tracking and my documents and my client portal in here, I can now ask questions about what's happened in here with this. Again, we talk about this model context protocol that we use so that things have the context of what's going on so the AI can make better decisions. Well, this really lets us use the AI to get the context of what's going on. So it's almost like an MCP server for your intelligence to say, this is what's going on, this is what's happening, and now you can be in a better position to have your arms around what's going on.
And another thing that I admired in the way the product was structured was you could create the engagement dynamically, might be a way to say it. They provide templates for tax, so you've got personal and business tax, and it's got some audit work papers and so forth. But if you've got specialty engagements, and I'll just say business valuation, I know they don't say they do that, but I'm just thinking, yeah, I could probably do a business valuation in here. And you could create your own structured templates and workflows for your way of doing things. So, out of the box, tax, audit, CAS, and advisory. And that's great because we have not seen many platforms that can handle all four major areas of the practice and could be flexible enough to handle other areas of the practice. So I'm pretty sure that that part is something worth your review.
Yeah. Again, the idea here is that we get rid of the chase and we get more visibility and smarter firm knowledge. So anyway, that's a little bit about Key Keyveve.
Yeah, the name is a little hard to say, isn't it, Brian?
That's a little bit about that product. Okay. So, you know,
I do get it. So, in the big picture of things, I'm happy that the name's hard to pronounce for a product that can work well for your practice. We appreciate you listening in on another new product that we've discovered that we think can have merit to be used in your firm. Kavy. Talk to you later. Good day.
Thank you for sharing your time with us. We'll be back next Saturday with a new episode of the Technology Lab from CPA Practice Advisor. Have a great week.